The Turlock Journal presents high school football from the field to your screen. The Blitz, sponsored by Moxie Credit Union.
Welcome to The Blitz, the Monday edition. I'm Frankie Tovar.
And I'm Eddie Ruiz.
And you know what's going on by now because you watched the Saturday Night Highlights episode. And if you didn't, click on the card right now and watch it before you watch this episode.
Yeah, we're not going anywhere.
We're covering Hilmar versus Escalon, the two rival teams opening up the TVL season with, I don't know. I don't want to say a banger. I don't want to say a high shootout because that would be a lie. It was kind of a sleeper for the first half, and it turned into a 28-14 win for the Escalon and a very disappointing loss for Hilmar.
That was, but then we're talking about the first half as well. You know, there was only 163 total yards.
Total yards.
Yeah, that's it. You know, Hilmar had 60 of them.
Yeah,
and then Escalon 103. There was only one touchdown. There was like 6 punts. So it's very limited, man, when you take a look at the first half. Obviously, the second half was a little bit different.
Penalties were a bad thing for Hilmar. They were snake bitten. They had 10. I mean, it's not super excessive, but it's not a good number either. But what mattered more than the number of penalties was the time that it happened, the circumstances. I mean, Escalon's first touchdown was a direct result of a personal foul.
Yeah, and then you take a look at the total yardage. It was 269 yards for Hilmar in total for the game, and then 292 for Escalon. So yeah, you're right. They were pretty much balanced. However, that last touchdown was a little bit, you know, a messed up play from Hilmar. Again, you know, just the discipline in that game in general. We'll see how they respond to it, but that was a tough loss for them, man.
It was a tough loss, and Frank Marquez was very disappointed with it because, you know, he has a reputation of leading some disciplined teams. Discipline is the name of the game when it comes to Hilmar, and this game was anything but disciplined. A lot of those nerves with the rivalry game got to Hilmar, and in addition to the penalties, they had a lot of bad snaps. They just had mistakes that really put them in a hole.
It's a big victory for Escalon to start things off, 1-0 in the TVL, but it's an even bigger victory for head coach Mark Lorero, who's unofficially finishing this season as his last. And man, what a legend. Such a cool guy as well.
Yeah, he's been at Escalon for a very long time. And this is also big because a rivalry has long series, and this one is no different. Hilmar came into this game winning the last 2 league matchups against Escalon, but with this win, Escalon now leads 6 games to 3 since the 2009 season. That's a bitter pill to swallow for Hilmar. And that makes next week's matchup with Houston High even more important because you do not want to open league with a 2-game skid. No. Houston, they have the very same record as Hilmar, 3-3 overall, 0-1 in league after losing to Modesto Christian. We'll see if Hilmar can bounce back against the Huskies.
Yeah, and the thing also with Houston, you know, we've covered them before, obviously, in the past. It's always sort of a similar type of game. It's always very hard hitting, and they want to win that game for sure. But yeah, you're right, man. If Hilmar doesn't get at least 1 win to start things off in the first 2 games,
they got to bounce back.
It's going to be extremely difficult. Yeah, they have to bounce back, and let's wish them some luck, man. Hopefully they do well.
So that's a must-watch game as far as the TVL goes.
Oh, yes.
Next week, we'll be at a different game with just as big implications, but this time for the CCC standings, we're talking Pittman High versus Buhack Colony High.
Yeah, and then I've got the chance to watch Buhack, obviously, when they play Turlock.
A lot of buzz around them this season.
There's a lot of buzz. It's kind of true. If you guys watch them before, I mean, yeah, this year, I'm talking about this year in general, some of the weeks before, they are a very physical team. They're a little tougher than you might think just because of maybe the way things have gone like the last 2-3 years. But I'm telling you, that's a very, very good team.
And they're led by a Turlock transplant, their quarterback.
Yeah, exactly. Abrams. And it's just going to be so interesting to see how Pittman responds. They have to get this victory, man, because if they don't, Buhack's going to have an edge, and who knows how things are going to shape out.
So right now, Pittman is undefeated in league. Turlock is undefeated in league. Buhack has 1 loss to Turlock in that league opener.
That was tough.
And so it's a must-win for Buhack because they have to win to keep themselves in the top 2 tier of the CCC, and Pittman too. If they can get past Buhack, it kind of looks like a clear, smooth ride to the Harvest Bowl,
and the
which may determine the league championship.
Yeah, absolutely. And then the postseason. So I get all excited, man. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Everybody's always excited for playoffs, but we're still quite a ways away from playoffs.
I know.
It's only the 3rd week of the Blitz. So, you know, don't get ahead of yourself, Eddie. But we'll be there soon enough. And then also one more note before we end this episode out. Head coach Tom Tyler, he picked up his 100th win.
100th win! 100th win! Oh my goodness!
Yeah.
Congratulations, Tom. Congratulations, Pittman. Awesome, man. Just a great accomplishment. Not very many people get to do that.
Not very many. And side note, this is what, 33rd with Pittman, I believe?
Yeah.
And a side note, Tom Tyler was my coach, so some of those wins were on my teams. Although we didn't win enough, we should have won more.
It's okay.
But that's a different story for a different time that I don't want to talk about right now. Be sure to tune in next week for the Pittman versus Buhat Colony game, because I promise you it's going to be exciting. You can find that at turlockjournal.com. Of course, you can find everything else at Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. And of course, subscribe to our YouTube channel to get updated content all the time. So until Saturday, I'm Frankie Tovar.
Medi Ruiz.
Good night.